Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how I actually make a living out here in Ghana since moving here with my family. So let's get right into it. So one of the things is it's like a mindset shift when it comes to moving to Ghana and you want to make money. You've actually got to start before you move. And so I started my online business, and that's another thing guys, you want to really utilize e-commerce. I started my e-commerce business about 4 to 5 years ago. And Ghana is really rich with, handmade products, and anything from like waist beads to clay pots to shea butter to bulgur baskets to textiles. These things are really sought after in the West. So I bought small quantities of those products that I've listed there, and I sold them on e-commerce platforms such as Etsy, eBay, making my own personal website, just to see what sold. And then once I actually saw what was selling, I then scaled up and went back to Ghana and sought out more artisans that were selling, the same things and producing the same things. And then I was kind of like just testing them on their timelines, their honesty, their relationship with me. And it was through that I was able to, kind of um, sift out the ones that I wanted to work with moving forward. And so that's really, really important when, it's when you want to make a living in Ghana, because it's not a thing where you want to come to Ghana and it's like, oh, now what? What business do I do? You want to actually start testing these things out in the comfort of being in the West before you move. Because one of the things that I've learned is that through the years of me selling these products, I've been able to grow the income steadily. So, when I first started, I was probably selling one or two products um, a month, and then just through the years I've been able to scale and sell more, and therefore generate more of an income for myself. And so now that we've moved, I'm a bit more established, if that makes sense, in the e-commerce space of selling what I sell. So that's one of the things that I would say that's like really important. And also, you know with Ghana, it's not a thing about, oh, I'm coming to Ghana to work, because unfortunately the wages that Ghanaians expect in this country are way, way less than what you're expected to earn in the West. And so I think, it's really important to utilize the fact that Ghana makes really well sought after products at affordable prices. Here that are produced at affordable prices that you can sell for really well in the West, and generate a really good source of income. And also, you want to use e-commerce because e-commerce is such a low cost um, expense in regards to, getting your products out there. And, you know, platforms such as Etsy, Shopify, and eBay, I would say, do the selling for you. As long as you put in your keywords, you post good pictures and videos of your products, you'll be surprised. Those platforms are there doing the marketing for you. And then, of course, if you want to do your own marketing as well, that's just like another boost that will help your sales. So, honestly, e-commerce is the way forward. Because in Ghana, things like, if you want to rent out a shop space, it's so pricey, guys. You have to pay the landlord about 1 to 2 years upfront in rent. That can completely kill your business before you even start. And so, honestly, a lot of people, what I've even witnessed for myself, is that a lot of people here in Ghana start off really small if they're going to have a physical shop, a physical space. They'll use a container. They might even convert their garage into like a bakery or a clothes shop, that kind of thing. You really want to stay away from renting out shop spaces in Ghana, because even companies that earn loads of money also struggle with those overheads. So that's one thing that you want to be really mindful of when it comes to, starting up a business, and also, making generating a living out here for yourself in Ghana. I would also say that when it comes to things like setting up your business, your e-commerce business, what I have found from experience is that I've been able to utilize family really well. So even during the times when I was in the UK and I couldn't come out to Ghana, I would ask my, family members to go and buy the products for me to bring to the UK, and then I was able to sell them from the UK. And then even when it's meant that we've moved out here in Ghana, yes, I have my inventory out here in Ghana, but I've also sent inventory to my friends and family for them to sell the products out there as well, because in Ghana, when it comes to shipping, and you can ship from Ghana, you can ship internationally. You have DHL, you have FedEx, you have Ghana Post, but the issue is that because the CD rate fluctuates, for example, there was one time when I was shipping a laundry basket that was costing the equivalent of £25 to ship, and then literally within the next like 2 months it was £65 to ship, and then it actually meant that it was just too expensive for me to ship, that it just didn't make sense for me to increase my price, up to like £65. So it meant that I'd actually had to stop selling that product because it just didn't make sense. So that's a thing to think about, actually having some of your inventory in, whether it's the UK or you're based in the US, and having, friends and family ship them out for you on your behalf once you've made the sale. So I utilize both that. I do ship from Ghana, certain products that I know that are low in shipping fees, and then things that are higher in shipping fees, I ship them out from the UK. So yeah, that's one thing to think about. And then also I would say, if because there is a lot of talk about Ghana's not a place where you come to work. And that is true, but to be honest, if it's a thing where you've never done a business before, for example, let's say you have dreams about wanting to open up a restaurant here in Ghana, but you've not necessarily opened up a restaurant out in the UK or in America or Canada, then I do think it is worth you investing, 3 to maybe 6 months of working in a restaurant and utilizing, your credentials of the fact that you come from the West, to get a, managerial job where you'll be privy to understanding costs, seeing, things like the inventory side to running, a restaurant, seeing the costs, the labor in terms of staffing, all of that. So then you can make an informed decision. Okay, you've learned enough to then, now I want to start my restaurant, or I've learned enough to know, actually I don't want to start a restaurant, and I actually want to go into maybe selling this product via e-commerce, because I can see that actually there's a big need or a big want for this particular product. You want to think smartly in Ghana. You want to operate smartly in Ghana. You don't want to just come in and spend a whole lot of money and then be like, I haven't made any profit and therefore I've got to go back home. You don't want that for yourself, You want to make decisions where you can actually be here, where you can be thriving and doing super, super well, But I would say start small, guys. There is no shame in humble beginnings, or just do e-commerce. I do e-commerce, and honestly, it hasn't given me many issues at all, to be honest. There's been a few pain points here and there, but nothing that has made me think, oh, I've got to pack up and go, you know. So I would say those are the things that you really need to think about. But you know, to be honest, guys, I was going back and forth to Ghana, you know, sourcing my products and then putting them on the e-commerce websites and then selling them from there. And I still do that now, guys. You know, I haven't changed anything. I still do that now. Um, so yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it's not talked about enough, and you'll be surprised. A lot of people, a lot of even English people come here and they buy up products and they sell them online, and they make a killing out in the West, you know, because it's people from the West that buy, you know, Ghanaian products. Unfortunately, in the time that I've been doing this, very rarely have I sold to a Ghanaian or an African. So, I mean, there is money to be made here, yes. Don't get it twisted. And I know people can make money from, you know, renting property, whether they're generating an income from renting their UK or their US property whilst living out here in Ghana, or they're doing Airbnb out here in Ghana, or they're in the agri, you know, culture business out here in Ghana. But for me, what has worked has been e-commerce. What has worked has been, you know, either producing products here and then shipping them and selling them out to the West. So yeah, there you have it. It's just basically a very kind of frank and open conversation that I don't feel like a lot of people have when they share about moving to Ghana. But honestly, um, when it comes to moving to Ghana and making a living here, you want to start before you move. Um, you don't want to come to Ghana and be like trying to think, well, what's next? You want to be able to execute. You want to be able to execute, and you don't want it to be a thing like, oh, I've moved to Ghana, now what? Because honestly, that will be your easiest ticket back home, and you don't want that for yourself. So if you want to make a living out here in Ghana, don't come with a negative mentality of, oh, I hate the West, I hate the West. No, you're coming with your passports, you're coming with your, you know, your bank accounts that can enable you to really generate a really good income for yourself whilst you're out here with your family. So honestly, with that in mind, utilize the e-commerce sites, because honestly, that will be a game changer in ensuring that your stay here in Ghana is comfortable.